I will love to be with you. And I see there's some food there too. Certainly see coffee. Anyway, Zoom it is, but we can have some dialogue after I say a few words. Um, Food is really an equalizer, and it doesn't matter who we are, where we come from. It's food that bring us together, and it bring us together as human beings, as community. And I see it. I see the power of food, and I saw it at Daily Bread Food Bank while we were sorting the Thanksgiving food boxes, um, and it was a really powerful reminder when we were sorting cans and beans and all of those things, how we're connected to each other. And we do know that times are tough. How many people are using food bank, and 1 in 10, and as the rent continue to rise, even if you have a good job or even if you have several shifts, it's still, by the time you finish paying rent, is not enough. And that is tough. And this is where you folks comes in. Agencies like North York Harvest Food Bank. Are you folks here? Yes, of course. Shout out. Yeah, I see hands being waved. That's dedication. I heard that a few months ago you had a big downpour and it flooded your warehouse. Your loading bay was flooded, freezer broke, delivery truck was damaged, water was coming into the warehouse, but I know you did not stop the community. You just kept at it, all showed up, bringing everything back on your feet. And the phones were ringing off the hook, everybody asking, hey, what can we do to help? It's that spirit of what can we do to help that sustain us night after night, day after day in your fight against hunger. And that fight continues, and it's getting harder as people are going to food bank. We know that. So what can we do together? We can do a whole lot. Here in the city, we are saying that we are building more affordable housing. We have committed to put shovel in the ground this year and next year and build 6,000 units of affordable housing. We recently, last week, I think, at City Council said that starting in January, not a year from now, we're going to feed children in school. We already are feeding 220,000 meals per day, okay? But we know that there's 100,000 children where they don't have a school food program. They don't have it. So what do? We say that starting in January, we're going to feed 8,000 more kids across Toronto. And we want to have a universal school lunch program in place within the next few years. I think the stars are aligned for that to happen. Now we're waiting for the federal government and the provincial government to sign a deal so that the money that has been announced in last year's budget, federal budget, would actually flow. But by the time it flows is next September. That means between now, which is October 21st, to next September, there will still be kids in school that would be hungry. And you and I know when you're hungry, you can't learn. And you and I know that when kids are in school that have school food program, they have better attendance rate, they bully less, they can focus more, their math numbers goes up, better academic performances, less obesity, they appreciate good food, all those excellent things. So let us work together to see whether we could feed the kids in schools together and get the program as quickly as possible. Because everybody's talking about provincial federal election. Hey, this is the time that people listen, right? So let us say that let's get the funds out as quickly as possible so that the food banks will get supported. There's more affordable housing, that we're pushing for rent control. We have a bylaw to stop rent eviction, renoviction, demoviction, all of those things, because that's why people are in desperate shape. That's why they need your support in food, because they are getting evicted, right? Then they become homeless, then they need you. Or because of your help, they can spend more money paying rent and they don't get evicted. So in fact, your housing and food are completely connected, right? Both of them are human rights. So there's a lot we can do, like building affordable housing, having programs like Rent Safe, rent banks, the EPIC program. You folks have heard about EPIC, right? Yeah. How many of you know about EPIC? You know what EPIC stands for, that deals with? Not all of you do. Okay. EPIC stands for Eviction Prevention in Communities. What's that? Well, EPIC is that these are social workers. If you have any clients that are facing evictions, give us a call, especially if the eviction is unfair. We have people that could help them fight the evictions if it's unfair. If they need a few dollars at the end of the month, we have the rent banks that can assist them. Or sometimes they might get evicted because they're hoarding, or they're feeding the pigeon and the pigeon shit goes down to the next floor. That's what my dad used to do. He has some mental health issues, and he was feeding the pigeon. The pigeon started gathering and mating in his balcony. He lives in St. Jamestown back then. And then the downstairs people were complaining because all the pigeon crap was coming down. It's a no-no. And I was able to fix that problem and negotiate with the landlord. So my dad didn't get evicted. But if you don't have a daughter that knows how to negotiate, this is quite a few years ago, the program called EPIC can come and help you out, okay? That can negotiate and find a solution. So rent banks, EPIC program, Metro Tenant Association, all of those things, renoviction, a demoviction or renoviction bylaw that's coming out that might help your clients. All of those things we can do together, and we can do a lot more of it together. So what I want to do is listen to some of your suggestions, answer some questions, and let's get to the root cause of poverty, of food insecurity is really poverty. And let's build more housing, feed more kids, get Toronto moving. Let's build a more affordable city, a caring city where everyone feel they belong. So thank you for listening, and I'm all ears to answer some questions. You need to turn, you muted yourself. Both Marsha's and yourself is muted.
Thank you, Mayor Chow. If you didn't tell me, I probably would not have noticed. Mayor Chow, thank you for sharing your insights and speaking about food. I just want to say that today, the food leaders that we have here are not just representing food banks, they're representing food partners from settlement organizations, community farms, community kitchens, community gardens, grassroots programs, as well as many advocates that are here that are leading food-related conversations on food security. So, we have a very diverse group for you. Last week, we had submitted some questions that the food leaders had sent to us that they would like for you to address. So, unfortunately, due to time constraints, you're able to answer only a couple. So I'll start with the first question. So the first question is, with the food security crisis worsening in Toronto, how does the city plan to prioritize concrete funding commitments to support actions that directly combat food insecurity?
Well, there are a bunch of programs. One is finally we have the Canada Ontario Housing Benefits that are able to lift people out of shelters into homes and help support is a rent supplement. So which means that they will now have a secure place to live with the rent under control, which means they would have a little bit more money for food. Okay, that's really important, dealing with some of the housing crisis. So that would meet about 300 families, 300 people, families per month. Nowhere near enough. We are pushing to get more on that one. So that's one is on housing. I talked briefly about building more affordable housing and supportive housing, right? And I talked briefly about rent banks, rent evictions, bylaws, and also the EPIC program, okay? And we also have a grant program that's run by the City of Toronto. And the grant programs are open to a lot of agencies that assist, whether they're assisting newcomers, assisting, we have, whether it's urban farms and all of those, it's community grants. There's a whole list of grant programs in there that some of that would deal with food insecurity. You need to open up your mic again. There you go.
I did. Thank you so much, Mayor Chow. The second question that we have is, what specific initiatives is the city implementing to support urban agriculture and local food production as part of its strategy to enhance food security? Are there plans to expand the use of public spaces for community food production or create more robust networks for sharing locally grown produce?
Absolutely, we are looking into it. But one thing about the school food program, if we're successful, if we're putting quite a bit of money in it, not only is it good for the kids that are in the school, they can purchase local food. The kids can learn how to grow food. They can come to appreciate why growing food are important. They can employ people to do the cooking, to do the harvesting. So it really totally connect. And because it's local, it can be locally based. If you look at, say, Copenhagen as one of the models, it's totally interlinked. So you could go to local restaurants, local food markets, and you can use local grown produce, and you can help kids learn how to grow things. So all of it is connected. And then if with the public, the City of Toronto, school boards and province and feds massively putting their funding in, already right now it's about it's about $28 million we put in terms of feeding schools. And if we could look at ways that we could work together, because that could generate a lot of opportunities for sharing locally grown produce or using it to cook.
Thank you, Mayor Chow. And I don't know if you have a couple more minutes. Do we have room for maybe one more question? Okay. Do we have any questions from the audience? Anyone that would like to ask anything while she's live on Zoom in front of us? Andy, we have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Hi, Mayor Chow. Hi, everyone.
Would you like to come through here?
Can she hear me?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
Come closer. I can't bite through Zoom.
Here you go.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so I have two questions, and this is one of
Tell
them
me
I've
what
had.
you are.
Okay, I've had this one for like decades. Why do we now plant more fruit trees on city streets when
Say that again.
we're
Say that
planting?
again. Say that
Why
again?
are we not planting fruit trees
Ah,
on city streets? When we are planting new trees, plant more fruit trees on city streets. And the second one is there's a large wait list for allotment gardens. So how can this program be supported more so that more people can participate in gardens? Maybe have a garden in every single park in the city. Sorry, I got nervous.
mhm. Those are really excellent idea. In terms of fruit trees, in perhaps in parks, but if it's in all the streets, we need to then have a network to pick the fruits. If not, the public health department may say that it would bring some animals to eat things that are falling down if we don't have a collection system. I would imagine they would say that. I don't know. So it needs to be a planned approach but what's exciting is in some of these parks, I'll give you an example. Friends of Trinity Bellwoods Park, they actually have a lot to say about what gets planted. In fact, they put in a, what do you call it? A greenhouse in Trinity Bellwoods Park, and they were growing food in there, right? So I think working with parks people, does everybody know parks people? Parks people are a big organization that works with friends of different parks. And the friends of different parks can then decide, these are local people, right? The local people can then say, hey, in this park, we want this, we need more benches, we want fruit trees, what kind of fruit trees, when are we gonna pick the fruits, et cetera, okay? This is a perfect time because I invite all of you to participate in a master plan for parks and recreation. So if you Google City of Toronto, which is toronto.ca, you will see, and then ask a forest, parks and recreation master plan. There is a big survey that are asking you to tell City of Toronto what kind of trees, what kind of parks, what do you want to do in the parks, what kind of is it soccer field, cricket field, whatever field it is. And it's a perfect opportunity. And it actually also, it's also in different languages. It also have kits that you can download, or you can ask the parks for it, Parks and Recreation, for this kit. And this kit can then, you can use it with your clients, the people you serve, and ask them, what do they think the local parks or the forests or the trails, what should be there? Should there be more allotment gardens? Yes. Okay, well, tell us where, what kind, how many, right? This is the perfect time for it because this will dictate the next 5 years of what parks and recreation and forestry and all of those things, anything green, anything growing, anything to do with community centers. So great timing. Tell us what you need and where you want it, and just get into the details and let us know. But it's almost as if you set me up on that question. I am so glad you asked that question. Perfect timing. I just launched that consultation last Thursday or Friday, and here you are asking about it. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you, Mayor Chow. I know you have to go at 11 sharp, but thank you so much for your keynote address today and for sharing your valuable insights with us and for answering our questions. We truly appreciate your commitment and addressing food security and the food needs of the city. So thank you very much, and we hope next year you will be amongst us in person. Can we get a promise from you?
Yes, but by the way, as Kinde Ba from my office, I believe he's there with you,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I see him in the background. There he is. There he is waving at you. So tell him what you need. He can answer the questions. He can take the notes. He's there for me. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care.
Will do. Thank you so much, Mayor Chow. Have a great day.
Yeah.